Doritos' recent TV ad encouraged satanic practices like communicating with the dead. And even popular chocolate bar Twix funded another questionable ad, which we can speak about before the end of today's video. So in paragraph 1 of this article, as you can see here, you can see that it starts to talk about how Dorito marked the Mexican Day of the Dead, as it's called, with a Pixar-styled animation of a family going to the grave of a loved one to leave a bowl of chips. It talks about how this particular holiday is for honoring deceased family members and loved ones. Now, full disclosure, up until this point in what we're reading in this article, and as you see in the TV ad, there's nothing inherently wrong with honoring a loved one or somebody who done great things, who's now obviously passed on to the afterlife. But as we go down to the second main paragraph after this little snapshot here, notice what it says. This is where we now start to get into key issues, especially from a Christian perspective, because it says, in the commercial, an elderly woman places a bowl of chips by a photo of Uncle Alberto on an ofrenda. And if you don't know what this is, look at what the next line says. It says, this is a bridge to connecting souls in this world to those in the afterlife. And this is problematic from a Christian perspective because the Bible warns us against this in different passages in the Bible. We could look at an example right now from the book of Leviticus, as you can see here, chapter 19, verse 31. And it says, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them, which is the key word. I, the Lord your God. So that's one place in the Bible where it's just outright condemned. And I want to show you a specific example in the Bible, which is all really centered around what this ad was basically trying to promote, at least at this point up until the advert. This is from the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 28, verse 7 to 8. We could look at, and notice what it says. It says, then said Saul, who was the king of the day, unto his servants, seek me a woman that has a familiar spirit. This is obviously what we just read in Leviticus 19:31, which was forbidden. But why is he doing this? Why does he want this? Let's continue. He says that he may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said unto him, there's a woman who has a familiar spirit at Endor. And it continues. Let's continue into the next verse where it says, and Saul disguised himself, because obviously knew this was wrong, and he put on other clothes, and he went and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night, surprise, surprise, doing it in secret. And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring up whom I shall name unto thee. So the reason he's doing all of this stuff is because he wants to connect with somebody in the afterlife, somebody who's dead. We could look at just one more verse here as we scroll down here to verse 11. As you can see, then said the woman, who shall I bring up to you? And he said, bring me up Samuel. Now, if you don't know who Samuel is, Samuel was one of the most famous prophets of God in the Old Testament. And because at this point, Saul had turned over to evil and rebelled against the Lord stopped giving him messages about what was ultimately going to happen in the future. This is why he's now gone this backdoor route through an evil channel to contact the dead, which God had obviously forbid previously in the Old Testament. So for Doritos to publicize this sort of evil act according to the Bible so publicly, this should obviously have Christians scratching their head and wondering why they would do such a thing. But as we scroll down this article, it gets even more detailed, because notice what it says. It now begins to give us insights about what actually happens next in the advert, as I'll show you in a moment. But notice what it says here. It says, the ghost of Uncle Alberto then appears to greet his family, who are obviously happy to see him. The living relatives are surprised when another man appears over Alberto's shoulder.
¡Oh! ¡Tío Alberto!
¡Qué sorpresa! ¿Qué hubo, familia? ¿Cómo están?
Alberto.
Then the family now ask, who is he?
¿Quién es él?
Uncle Alberto then says, this is Mario. Uncle Roberto replies, his partner. And the next line goes even deeper, because notice what it says. Not only do they just showcase this situation here, in this paragraph it says, the ghost men then hold hands while the living family members cheer.
¡Qué milagro!
So there's 2 problems here, on top of the fact that they're communicating to the dead, which is a forbidden practice according to the biblical text. But Jesus said in the New Testament that there would be no marriage, etc., in the afterlife. So for them to be pretending and portraying it as if these two people are in a relationship in the afterlife is again another strike and very problematic. Secondly, they're obviously promoting here LGBTQ sorts of relationships, which is obviously again a sin amongst other sins in the Bible, which Christians cannot get behind. And think about it like this. This isn't me singling out people from the LGBT community. Imagine if this was an advert of two people in adultery, and the people were cheering and joyous of this particular action. We'd have to condemn it in the same way because the Bible classifies them both as sin. Now, the next paragraph goes even into more details, and notice what it says here. It says Doritos in Mexico, where this ad was basically publicized, posted this commercial on its Instagram account. And notice what it says. Pride will now be part of their ongoing traditions. So things like this and statements like that really put Christians in a very tough position. And more each day, there's going to be more companies coming out and saying stuff like, our money that we're giving to them is going to be funding and fueling messages like this. And Twix follows suit with a TV ad vanquishing a boy who would question a young boy's choice to wear a dress. And if we cannot even ask questions that people find hard anymore, where is this world headed? Being bold for the truth is essential as we move closer and closer to the end. And I speak about it in this video here, where I analyze popular Christians who appeared on popular talk shows.